Hello, listeners of the Art Versations podcast.
Hi. My name is. Hi. My name is Broadway Classic.
Tyrie.
Welcome back to another week, another episode of Art Versations. I hope you had a great week filled with inspiration and artistic endeavors, whether that be in the form of creating or consuming. We've got to keep the arts alive, and one way that we can do that is by talking about art and seeing what inspires people to start a project, what is working, what is not working. That being said, thank you so much for tuning in. It is absolutely stunning to have you here. I'm your host, Bri, like the cheese, and I hope you will consider subscribing or following on your preferred platform. Hitting that button lets you stay informed on new episodes every Monday. They'll just pop into your feed for easy access. Very, very convenient. For this week, I sat down with Sadie Segriff, an artist currently in her final year at Ryerson. We talked mostly about the process for creating her solo piece, Frame of Reference, which was performed at the Yukon Riverside Arts Festival this summer. Really, really cool. It was great to catch up with her about how she's doing and how she's using her art to seek justice in our world. Truly inspiring. Without further ado, here is episode 10, oh my god, of season 3.
Like, it could have been 2 minutes, but I was like, it needs to be half an hour long.
I have to tell a lot of things.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hi, Sadie.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I am a bit antsy today. I was sort of working this morning and then I fell asleep, so I feel kind of a bit up in the clouds right now. I'm sorry if my voice is really raspy too. Yelling at kids, turns out it damages your voice. So
Yeah, I'm working with kids right now.
Are you? Yeah, are you teaching?
Yeah, some tiny little kids, yeah. It just came with my administration job at my dance studio. It was like, and you need to teach this class. And I was like, okay.
They just told you like you're doing both?
Yeah. It's like once a week because they just need a teacher. So they were like, we need someone. And I was like, okay, sure.
Do you enjoy teaching, or is it not really your first
No,
love?
I do enjoy it. Yeah. I like, thinking about how I can become a better teacher based off of like how I've been. And I mean, with the group and everything, like, I don't know, I've just been thinking a lot about how I want to be a teacher or just like present myself in general. So I think that having a platform for that helps. And I was like also subbing a lot. I like subbing older kids, obviously, because you can teach them more. So that's nice too.
Cool. Yeah. Subbing is nice because you kind of just go in and out.
Yeah.
Like a little one-off thing. Oh, that's great. That's great. So catch me up a little bit. We haven't seen each other in a while. How was COVID for you? What was the quarantine lifestyle like? Did you feel secluded? Did you feel like isolated, or did you really like thrive in like the isolation of it?
No, it was definitely really hard. I was in Toronto for like a month and a half by myself. And I really didn't see anybody. It was obviously like strange because like no one knew the regulations and no one knew, like, I remember going to the grocery store with like gloves and no mask. And now that I look at that, I'm like, what the hell? But and then like, the next day someone would be like, only masks. It was just very like up in the air.
Yeah.
And then it was like, oh, like I can't hang out with like this person anymore or whatever. And then it just became really lonely. But I kept a journal. I think that was like the only thing. And I would have to like literally be like, do this every day. And then I would cross everything off. And at the beginning I was still doing school. So it was like a little bit easier. And then it got hard. And then I like moved. And then I was like, okay, I guess I'll go to Whitehorse for the summer because it's better here. And like, that's where I am now. And there's like one COVID case. So
Wow.
Yeah, it's very relaxed.
Versus
But I had to,
Toronto
yeah, oh
when we're
yeah.
like in the red zone. That's so crazy. Wow.
Yeah, and it's only because now, like in the summer, it was so safe. Like no one wore masks at the grocery store and stuff. It was just so safe because, um, and no one really cared because we had like you had to isolate if you came anywhere. Like if you came from Vancouver, if you came from, um, Ontario, obviously. So I was in like a hotel for 2 weeks. That was really hard, but I saw like the light at the end of the tunnel. Like I just went on walks every day, and that
Hmm.
was during May, so it wasn't like super warm yet in Whitehorse.
Oh my
um,
gosh.
and in that too, like I just like kept a journal and really like crossed off everything every day that I
Hmm.
was doing. Um,
Yeah,
um,
giving yourself a schedule is like key, I feel like.
yeah, yeah, that was how I really did it.
Nice.
And then I got out and it was really nice. And then now it's a little bit like it is a little scary with COVID because people can come from Vancouver, and they don't have to isolate. So that's like the only thing right now that,
Hmm.
now people, I wear masks everywhere, like, and stuff. But other than at the dance studio, we don't have to yet.
Hmm.
It's kind of, it's wish-washy. It's really
Hmm.
weird because it's like, people are like, it doesn't matter because we have nothing. But at the same time, it does matter because something could easily come.
Hmm. Yeah, it's so hard to tell. Like this is, unprecedented. They always say that word, but like it does feel wishy-washy, like you say, and like every week is different
Yeah.
about where you can go and how many people can be there and what you have to wear. It's
Yeah.
yeah, it just kind of feels like we're living in like a video game that like just keeps restarting and like I'm trying to like see the light at the end of the tunnel. Like you say, like maybe we'll figure this out. We'll get a vaccine, it'll be done, but it keeps like climbing, keeps changing, keeps
Hmm.
evolving. I don't know.
Yeah. It's
It must
hard,
be strange
especially.
to like not be in school, like personally in school, while all of your classmates are. Like
Yeah.
how's that?
I think, uh, I don't want to be like, I just am over school,
Mm.
but I feel like that. And
Well, you're
I
in
know, like,
fourth year now. It's like,
yeah,
yeah, I get
but I'm
that.
like, I don't want to go back. Like, I've been saying that, and they had the module and stuff. I know that, like, some of my friends who are in places that are like more harsh with regulations, that they're like, oh, I wish I could be there. But for me, like, I can dance here. Like, I feel like I'm doing a lot of projects, and like I can take class in person, and I just don't feel like, I feel like I'm in the right place. Like, I feel like I'm where I'm supposed to be. So that is nice. And I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like that for like, I never ever thought that I would come back here. I was like, after high school, after growing up here and then moving to Toronto, I was like, I'm never gonna like come back and work at the studio because everyone who goes to dance school does that. And I was like, I'm never doing that. And then COVID brought me back, and like now I love it, and I just love like the energy of like where I'm working, and like, in the company and stuff like that.
I'm
Yeah.
so glad to hear that. Like, cause that just, to to find a place that feels safe and feels good and school is there, you can do it and you can get it done, but
Mhm.
you feel like you're thriving in Whitehorse. That's amazing. That's just
Mhm.
like a wonderful thing to hear. It is. Yeah. I mean, final year, and I hate asking this question. I hate asking this question. And you probably already know what I'm going to ask. What are your plans?
Yeah. I think it's changed a lot, and it's like
Yeah.
continuing to change.
Hmm.
Now I'm like, I'm gonna be here, next semester's online. So I'm like gonna be here next summer.
Mm.
Um, yeah. And then I don't know. I have, my job offering for next year potentially. And like,
Okay.
I don't know. It depends on COVID and things. Like, I really would love to like go to Berlin and move to Montreal and all this stuff that like me and my friends have been talking about for a long time. And like,
Yeah.
obviously, training in dance, I would love that, but it depends on COVID. Um,
Yeah. The
Yeah.
whole industry
Yeah.
completely
And then
taking a
also
turn.
like with like my apprenticeship, it's like, oh, if it goes well, then I could be in the company, and like then I would have this like administration job and I would be teaching more, and it does feel like a good place and a good community to like put work back into. But at the same time I do want to leave at some point, and I want to move, but it all depends on
Travel, see the
yeah.
world. Yeah. I know.
Mhm.
I feel that.
Mhm.
I wondered too with COVID and the dance industry and performance in general, like how we do that, how we construct that safely, but also
Mhm.
like similar to what we had before, like,
Mhm.
well, with the solo you did this summer, you were up on like a mountaintop,
Yeah.
like at the setting sun, and people, were far enough away from you. It looked like it was safe, and uh, it seemed like it worked, like it was a successful show, like a safe show.
Mhm.
Um, was there any like other, because you also had like audience participation of people like writing, like,
Yeah,
tell me
I
how
was
you
scared
see
about
me.
that. I was scared. I was like, I had a hand sanitizer beside the box of papers,
So
and I was
extra
like,
careful.
you can use this if you want. But yeah, I did that in Dawson City, which is 5 hours from Whitehorse. So
Okay.
it's like even more, it's like one of the communities, and it's like even more secluded. Like something that's really important in terms of COVID here is not bringing COVID to the communities, because there's Whitehorse and then there's just communities, which are like
Okay.
small towns. um, yeah, and that's like a really important thing. So I was like even more safe, I would say, over there. Dawson's a bit bigger, but yeah, and yeah, I was on top of like there's a you can drive all the way up to the top. It's
Hmm.
like kind of a mountain, but not really. Um, yeah, it was really beautiful. I was
Yes, it
like
was.
not expecting. I didn't really know what I was going up and like how I would set up all the mirrors and stuff like
Uh-huh.
that.
Well, so talk me through the process. How long did you take to create it, the solo?
Um, I found out. I think I had like a month to make it.
Okay.
Uh, yeah,
That's a substantial amount of time, like,
yeah.
to work through things. Nice. That's great.
It was good. I was just like, and they didn't really ask me. So it was through the Yukon annual Riverside Arts Festival.
Right.
Um,
Why rap, right?
yeah. And they didn't really ask me like anything specific. They were just like, we're hiring you to make a dance. And I was like, okay, well, I'm going to do a solo because I don't know, just felt like the right thing for me, I guess.
Mhm.
Um, and they were like, it could have been 2 minutes, but I was like, it needs to be half an hour long.
I have to tell a lot of things.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I get that.
Um, but I have actually like part of the solo was from something that I had a solo that I had auditioned for choreographic works like the year
Oh,
prior.
okay.
Yeah, so it didn't get into the show, obviously, but
So many pieces don't.
yeah,
Hmm.
and they really wanted me to like audition it for my fourth year solo because I don't know, I guess they don't put as many third years in, and they talked to me about like how to move forward with it and stuff. So that really helped me to create the solo.
Nice.
And that solo was called Father. So it was like about my dad. And then I put that in there and I also did sorry, this is off tangent, but I also
So
did
fun.
Ignite like over
Ignite.
in the summer. And it was
Yeah.
so helpful like to create the solo because I was like I while I was doing Ignite, I knew I had to make the solo. So I was like the whole time we were creating, I was just thinking about that. I was like, okay, I have to create for this. And like Kelly Shaw came in and we did a section like a just a little creation thing, and it was like think about a gesture and a person's name that goes with the gesture. So that's how I created, my gesture phrase that I repeated for like I don't know how long, but a long time. And I went really fast and like said the people's names. So that was like one section of it. And a lot of inspiration came from Ignite. And I talked to like David and I talked to Kirsten,
The best.
like about how to like move forward with the solo. And then recently I talked to Louis. He like watched the solo that was just filmed. And then it was kind of funny because after I finished the solo, like while I was doing the solo, I was like, I'm never doing it again.
Really? You're like,
yeah,
this is too hard.
Like,
was it too hard or something?
No, it wasn't. It wasn't like super physically? Hard.
Okay.
It was like mentally, I was like, I'm letting this go. Like I was like, I'm over all the stuff that I was like dealing with and like was put into my solo. And especially because I was thinking that actually during the father section of the frame of reference that I had created a year before. So I was like, I'm over that. But then I talked to, and then I didn't even watch the video. So I haven't seen it. I can't watch it.
I feel that.
And then I talked to Louis and he was like, I think this and this and this. And I was like, wow, like I feel like refreshed in like how I think about it. And I want to remount it and I want it to be longer. And I think that because of the like message of it, that there's a lot to play with, like the mirrors, like it's, you know, I was playing with, when I first did it, I was playing with like how the audience would see me through the mirrors and then like how they see themselves as well. And then like I was just, and then like seeing like where you are and like the indigenous land that it was on and like recognizing that and just kind of like reflecting about yourself and like where you are and who you are.
Yeah, so you said like in your write-up, sorry to interrupt, I just want to, these words were great, like exploring reflection, silence, confusion, and where your voice fits into the issues of injustice in our world today. Like, holy cow, like this is powerful shit. Like, because our world is so turned upside down right now, like I admire you for using your voice to do that. And, you know, recognizing like me, like we are white people, but we can be allies and talk about our privilege and show how it's like not a great thing and it needs to change. I just want to say like that's amazing.
Yeah, I knew it was like very important for me to talk about that before I did my solo. Like as all dancers know, like these days that a land acknowledgement is very important. But I felt like a, you know, racial justice or social justice talk as well was important at the time with like the Black Lives Matter movement had just happened like so strongly this summer that I felt like it was very important. And I spent a long time with David. Like I wrote up a land acknowledgement and like a racial injustice acknowledgement as well. And then he was like, don't talk from like the words on the page. You need to talk like from yourself. Oh, so it was so hard. It was like the hardest thing I've ever done. And like, as you saw in the solo, like I practiced it so many times, but I still cried. And I was like, yeah, it was really difficult. I was like, I can't cry. I literally can't. And then I went up and I did.
It's so many emotions and it's so hard to, as a dancer to like actually speak in front of a crowd and speak these kinds of words or these kinds of phrasings that are so sensitive, but can be, if they're worded right, can be very powerful. So yeah, I would have probably cried too, don't worry.
Yeah. I thought it was very important for it like not to be scripted and for it to come from my heart and like a place where it felt real. Someone in the crowd was like, "You're doing fine."
They gave you a little...
but I was like, "I'm so sorry that I'm crying." But yeah,
that's so cute.
Yeah, I think it was also a perfect amount of people. There's like 25 people watching, and I was like, any more, I would be off the mountain. I would not
just fall back.
Yeah.
The mirror's crashing down with you.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Oh, well, I mean, yeah, so it's like, I don't even know where to start. With all of these themes and frame of reference, like perception, I think is like a big overall message is what I got from it. Like just how we see each other, how you see yourself. Um, did you, in the moment when you were performing it, did you get people reacting interestingly? Did they, in their faces, or I don't know, what kind of audience, immediate reaction did you get?
Um, everyone was very silent, and then there was the audience participation part of it. So I just had like a bucket of pens and paper, and I was like, can you write down what you think about me? Which now that I've like talked to Louis, he's like, it's not what they think about you, it's what they think about themselves. It's like whatever they see in me.
Hmm.
Like, so I'll give some examples of what I so I read one during my solo, and I think if I expanded I would read way more because some of them were so great. Like,
Hmm.
I don't know, it was just um yeah, some of them were like beautiful, like whatever, reflecting, da da da, like kind of boring, whatever. But some of them were really good, and like some of them were like body image, and it's like,
Mm.
yes, that's obvious because there's a mirror, but it's like not what they think about me. It's like what they think about themselves
I see.
when they see a mirror and they see like a body in a mirror. So I think I would expand more on like that,
Hmm.
and and then some one of them was extremely tough feet because I was on like really
Oh,
rough
yeah.
ground and I was barefoot and like, yeah, anyway, that was a good one.
The calluses on your foot must have been just
Yeah.
so thick and ready to
Yeah, we were like
receive.
with a broom beforehand, like sweeping all the dirt away and stuff.
Site
But yeah, I
specific.
think I would, yeah, it's tough. It was really tough in that spot. um yeah, I think I would expand more on like how people see themselves and
Hmm.
read more of the things for sure.
And body image in like, because that word reminds me of, dysmorphia and when you look at yourself in the mirror, like, are you actually seeing what other people are seeing? And
Yeah.
we all struggle with it being in front of mirrors most of our life, like as dancers. And would it come out more? Like you said, you wanted to remount it. So would that be more towards body image? Would it? What am I trying to say here? Sorry, my questioning is not working out today.
Okay. Yeah.
Body image for this remount, like as audience members were writing in and saying, this is what I see in myself from this solo. Would the remount like maybe would the remount like include that? Like include audience members in the solo? If you know
Mm.
what I mean?
Oh yeah, yeah. There was some ideas for like to answer your body image question. I think that I
It
wouldn't
wasn't a
focus it on.
question.
I wouldn't focus it on that
Yeah.
because it's what people see, and I'm not very in like I'm not really interested personally in that.
Okay.
Like for a focus, I think the whole focus is like reflection on yourself in general.
I see.
Um, but the other thing, yeah, is that when I was talking to Louis, like it came up that it's so hard because it's like COVID, obviously, but that people would have their sticky note and they would like write down and then they would stick it onto the mirrors. So the mirrors would be full of like the sticky notes.
Oh, wow.
Um, and then, you know, they could look at other people's sticky notes and see. Um, I thought like something, I wish other people could see what they had written
Mm-hmm.
or that I had read more. So I definitely would include way more of the like reading them out because
Mm.
afterwards I like got in my car and I read them all and I was like so interested to see what people had said about me, but now I recognize that it wasn't about me,
Mm.
if that makes sense.
Yeah, well, that's a whole question on performance, I feel like, too. Like, when is it ever about the performer, Maybe it's always about the performer, but the audience, like, comes because they want to get something out of it for themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um yeah, I think that's something when I was asked to do this like creation that, you know, the thing that I said about finding your voice within, you know, somewhere, I was like, should I even be a artist when I'm white? Like, should I be upholding other people, and should I like take space here? And that's like something I really like. I was like, what if I just do a whole solo where I like, and my back is turned and like you don't really see my face, because I don't want it to be about me, if that makes sense. So I
Yeah.
hope that like that did come across, because that was something important to me. I mean, I wasn't facing the back the whole time, but those were some like ideas. And I was like, I don't want it to be about me. And then I don't, as you could see in the solo, like I didn't want it to be like, watch me dance like this. Like I can do these amazing things. It's really not. I'm not like, I did a lot of mental preparation, but I only did it like twice before, for real.
Oh, like the
before I
full.
actually did it. Yeah.
Wow.
Because it was just a lot of like, okay, I'm going to do this, but like and like I pieced it together and like mentally prepared for certain spots, but like to do the movement that I did, it was very like simplistic. And like when I auditioned the father solo, it was very simplistic and they liked that, but it didn't fit into like the Ryerson, I want to show you how I can dance or whatever.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Sometimes the most minimalistic things though, I love watching. Like I as an audience member, you know, like I don't see the value in like overexertion sometimes.
Mhm.
Like if I'm watching something that is like super technically sound and like so just like 110% on like technicality or the circus of dance, I guess you could say. I just kind of get bored. I don't know. I like, or I take a step back because now I don't feel like I'm watching.
A human.
Yeah. I'm watching an acrobat or, you know, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that is totally okay to, you know, spend 18 minutes doing something so, but meaningful, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There's something to be said about like a nice gesture phrase.
Yeah. I definitely have that in there.
Yeah. It's doable. It's nice. Oh, well, that's really cool. And the link for it is up on the YRAP website.
Mm-hmm.
So people can watch it.
Or like people could message me also. I had some people's names in my list of names that I was like, maybe I shouldn't just post this everywhere for everyone to see. And then I cried as well, and I felt very like I didn't want people to. It's 20 minutes, you know. If people want to message me to actually watch it, I was like, yes, obviously, but I didn't want people to log in and be like, she cried in the first 5 minutes and I'm gonna like leave this link. I'm just gonna stop watching.
I loved it.
Anyway, I just want
like,
people who personally knew me to watch it, if that makes
I
sense.
see. No, yeah, I guess that, and you kind of have that right as the person who made it, you know, you don't have to show it to everyone, I guess. It's the weird thing about like art going online now is that like it really, people think it's going to like open up our audience reach, but I feel like it's really narrowing it because now there are so many things online, so infinite. You could scroll all day.
Yeah.
But the people who look at your stuff probably only really want to and really genuinely want to. Yeah.
Yeah. Like you could watch, it's so hard to even watch like a minute Instagram video, right? So like why would you watch a random person do a 20-minute Instagram video? I mean, whatever video. It's also, I want to mention, it's so funny because I was like on Zoom call with Louis talking about the solo, and I said his name in my solo, and he was like, was that me? And like, does she know another Louis? And I was like, oh, I totally forgot you were in it. Because it was just like people who've influenced you. Yeah, that was so funny.
Louis Leberge-Cote.
Yeah.
He's great. I miss him a lot. I do. That's great that like him and David and Kelly and Kristen and like having those outside eyes, like especially for a solo, you know, like it's it's so important to get like someone else's opinion on it. And I'm glad that they were able to like, you know, encourage you to try these things and to work through these things. Like it sounds like it was a very emotional process. If you weren't able to do it, you know, 2 times, that was enough for you mentally.
Yeah. Yeah, it was definitely very emotional. It was like about, you know, my life and my family and coming back to Whitehorse and like, yeah, breakups and it was the whole lot. It was about my dad, you know, everything. Yeah.
Ripping
That's
your
why I
heart
also
out.
felt like I wanted to leave it, but now like I do want to remount it, but I don't only want to remount it. Like I want this to be a lifelong, you know, solo that I do. I think that like because it is about reflection and it is about me, that it can change so much over time
Cool.
and become longer, that I was like, I'm never doing this again, but it can change. I think I want it to be a solo that I always do. It's like more of like a statement piece, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Wow. To have it and like maybe like in 20 years you like come back to it and it means something completely different.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
And like the people's names change maybe, or gestures change, and like the whole thing could change ultimately. But I love the idea of the mirror for it.
Cool. Well, I can't wait to see it. Like frame of reference 2050. I'll be there.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll come to Whitehorse at that point.
Yeah.
And actually, yeah, like tell me a little bit more about like the artistic scene. I feel like I need the inside scoop on how art and artists are thriving in Yukon.
So there's 2 dance studios in Whitehorse, and
Two.
and those are the only ones in Yukon. So, because as I said, like it's all communities around.
Right. Okay.
So I went to both, like in and out of them, but like and then I mainly focused on one. Now I work there, so it's a really great place. Like they have a pre-professional program and like are really pushing for kids to go to dance school. I think I'm the last one though who's gone. And then there's like 2 other people who've gone to Ryerson before me. And they're both back and like working on in the company BOSO. So a lot of like, as I said, people coming back from school and like contributing back into the community.
Yeah.
There's like huge visual arts scene and music scene. It's like,
cool.
Yeah, I don't know why. Like, yeah, it's like artists here, like they just love it. And Dawson is like an amazing place for artists.
Amazing.
Which is where I did my solo. There's just so many like opportunities and like grants and stuff that you can apply for to do a solo, to do, you know, a project or whatever. Yeah, really great.
And so this apprenticeship that you're in now, is that with BOSU?
BOSO, yeah.
BOSO, sorry?
It's called the Borealis Soul.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
That's
like,
cool.
Yeah, Val is the co-founder. She also went to Ryerson.
Oh my gosh, yes. I think she was in like 4th year when I was in 1st year or something. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So wait, so you're literally in school working and you're apprenticing right now?
Yeah.
How do you do that?
Yeah, I don't know. I really don't know. Had 2 jobs like a few weeks ago and I was like, no. And yeah, I have my creative process with Ryerson as well. That's online. So that's interesting. And then I'm also helping with the first year's creative project with Val and Mika who are running it. So I'm kind of in 3 creative projects right now, a little bit, and it's kind of wild.
Okay, well let's start with the creative process with Ryerson, like the one for you, like your 4th year class. Because I know there's 2 choreographers, I believe.
No, there's only one, Justine Chambers.
There's only one? Oh, okay. Maybe I heard that wrong. Okay. How was that?
Oh, it's going well. I love her. It's so great. Like she's doing a lot of stuff with like your head, and it's not like your, you know, body as much. And we're planning our our project just got extended till next semester because
Oh.
there was just like not enough time to finish. But it's kind of
Hmm.
like all these solos, like 27 solos happening all over in your bedroom. So she's gonna start working out with us individually. It's like a gesture endurance phrase, but it's a lot about like your head. She'll like mess you up for sure.
Maybe like because of Zoom, like it's very Zoom friendly to just like focus on the head, you know,
Hmm.
because we're always kind of in this little like 3/4 shot of just like our
No,
upper
no, I mean
body.
like in your mind, not in your.
Oh,
It's like it's still like your whole body,
I
but
see.
yeah, just like with she'll be like, I can't even give an example. She'll just be like reverse that with your eyes closed and blah blah blah. I'm like, okay.
You're like, sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
But it's
okay.
cool. I really enjoy it.
Nice. That's not that okay. So it'll be a film, but you're still working on it.
Yeah, we're still working on it. I don't know if it's a film or not.
Mm.
I think it's more of like it's your solo in your house. It might be recorded,
Okay.
but it's more like a live event.
Oh, okay, okay.
Mhm.
I'm like so out of it.
Yeah.
As soon as I graduated, I
Very
was like,
different than normal. It's crazy.
yeah, well, like compared to, dances,
Mhm.
like
Yeah.
which is like a 2 month, 2.5 month process of like in studio every day.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
I guess your class is so unique because you've had that experience of third year dances and now you're completely shifting into this new territory. You're paving the way.
Mhm.
Do you feel like a pioneer or do you feel just like crazy all the time?
Um, I feel like I want to be a pioneer. I feel like I'm really trying
Hmm.
to, with the focus group, I'm really trying to like change the mind of like the faculty and how things are running and like
Yes,
make them realize that it's not running in the right way and that it needs to change. And like
absolutely.
being, far enough into, as you say, the program while still being in it is very like a big advantage, I think. And like these conversations that are happening wouldn't have been opened up without COVID. So
I was gonna bring it up a little bit, but yeah, like
yeah.
this focus group, I was talking to Maddie Leonardo the other day too about it, like just for people for dancers in the program who need a voice or need a platform to speak about it and speak about their experiences, I think it's perfect. I've only been to one meeting because I started babysitting my cousins on Sunday nights, but I want to come back to another.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's a big step.
Hmm.
Totally.
Yeah, I'm trying to like look at now like what the next step is, while keeping it. I just really don't want to die out. That's a really big thing that's important. Like I've been trying to talk to faculty and like the student union and stuff and
Mm-hmm.
like move forward, but at the same time just keep it a consistent space for students to share what they want to share. It's really tricky.
Mm.
And like I really want it to make a change, and I've heard that groups have started in the past and just they die out. So I really like want to push for it to stay. I'm leaving next year, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
You only have so much energy with your like 5,000 jobs right
Yeah, I'm
now.
also doing that. So running a group kind of.
Oh, well, I admire it completely. And I'm so glad you reached out or Barbara told me about it. And I was glad to come to at least one of the meetings.
Mhm.
So you have the creative process for your fourth year class, and then you're also helping with the first years.
Yeah, they kind of the creation time overlaps with each other, but I just like watch videos.
Mm-hmm. I'm losing you, but because of Zoom.
Mhm. Oh, I think it's good now. Maybe?
Okay, you're back. So sorry.
Yeah.
It's so the two processes are interweaved, I guess.
Yeah, they're at
Okay.
the same time, but I just do things on the side, like watch videos or be like, this one needs to be reshot and stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it with the first years, like, are they stepping up to the plate? or what are you finding?
I'm not in a ton of the like rehearsals, but
I see.
yeah, I think so. Like I worked with some of them and like one-on-one, like Val and Mika, they were like, I need this to go in super slow motion. And I was like, I can do that. I love that. So I was kind of killing some of them, but it was really fun.
Oh, well, they're so eager. I'm sure they can handle it.
Yeah, exactly.
That's cool. Oh, I really hope I get to see all of this. You said it was
Mhm.
going to be live streamed. So,
I
but we don't know when, I guess.
I think that one's a film. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, okay, great. I will keep an eye out for that.
Mhm.
Good for you. Look at you, so busy.
Yeah, I'm so busy. It's a little much.
Well,
You have to
let's
take it a day at a time.
take it day at a time. Yeah, that's all you can do.
Mhm.
Let's shift gears a little bit. And I just want to know, like, if you've been consuming other, other art forms like media or like books or music, something that's been keeping you inspired to do all of these projects.
Mhm. Um, I've been trying to really like change into like visual arts more.
Cool.
If I have time. I was doing it more in the summer. Um, but yeah, I think like I'm just taking inspiration from the people who are around me. My girlfriends are really great visual artists, and she was like teaching me how to do stuff, and I was like, okay, but I'm like not as good as you, but I'll try. And yeah, just like people around me, and like being back here, there's so much art. I feel overwhelmed, and like I want to incorporate what I can do into art. And like with my solo, it felt very visual,
Hmm.
um, more visual art. And like hopefully if I get this project that I want to do in February, like it would be more, I could make a film or like projections and like,
Keep
yeah,
expanding it.
yeah.
Nice.
Um, in terms of books, I've been chipping away at Me and White Supremacy for
Ooh.
a long time. I'm a very slow reader, but that's basically the book that I'm focusing on. I'm like
Nice.
halfway through now, but I find it is really great. Like I'm dyslexic, so it's really like really difficult for me to read, but it's super short, like chapters, and then you have a reflection where you get to write. So
Oh.
it's like it's such a great book. Like you can work through it. It's like a journal. So and
Oh,
the chapters
nice.
are so short, which is like perfect for me. So you're supposed to do it every day, and you're not supposed to do 2 days in one day, which I definitely haven't done because I'm so slow. But yeah, it's really
Oh.
good book. I would recommend it.
Yeah, that's really nice that like it's kind of a journal, but also teaching you like,
Hmm.
wow. I'm reading White Fragility right
Mm.
now by Robin DiAngelo.
Mhm.
Also chipping away at it slowly but surely when I have free time. Um, and I'm learning a lot about like what I need to do and how I need to um, reframe my thoughts on my childhood and how I
Mhm.
grew up.
Mhm.
And it's it's really important. And I feel like it's not only the only thing I can do, but it's something. And
Mhm.
I want to keep educating, and like
Mhm.
that's really great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've found like this year since quarantine, like I felt like I woke up, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's just because I was a kid, and I'm like getting older and I'm starting to learn, but I'm like, how did I not notice that
Hmm.
sort of thing going on in the world?
Yeah.
And I also think that something that's interesting is like growing up in the Yukon where like the Black community is very small here, but the
Hmm.
indigenous community is huge. So like some of the things that the book is reflecting on, like it's just so interesting. Like I kind of like take it, like they're like give examples of like how you've seen white silence or whatever.
Hmm.
um and then like it is written by like a Black author, so but I need to take it in like a different way just of like because of the way like I've grown up. like I have spent 3 years in Toronto, so that definitely contributes, but most of my life was in the Yukon. So yeah, so it's interesting working through that and like noticing now that I'm back in Whitehorse, just like noticing those, like the silence or all those things that you work through in the book. Yeah.
So much more work to
Got
be
on
done.
that tangent, but
No, that, I mean, it's so current right now. Like I'm glad that we're talking about it, and I don't know much about it, and I want to be more. I want to listen. I think that's more what I'm trying to say, is that I actually just want to listen. I don't want to formulate my own opinion and, you know, speak up for other people that I know nothing about, or I, you know, don't know their lives. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's obviously so difficult, like being white and like trying to navigate when to speak and when to be quiet and when to listen. I think that like again in my solo I was very like, I need to shut up because I'm not where no one's posting on Instagram. Like everyone who's white is just like be there and listen. So like with coming into the solo, I was like, do I even, or like in life, do I even talk about these things because it's not me? So I don't know. I'm still navigating. I have no clue.
Same. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's probably going to be a question that won't take a year to, you know, to answer. It'll take oodles of time because of all of this past history. So many years. So yeah, we got to do it. The time is now. Well, that's great. I'm glad you've, you know, kept your inspiration and found other places that you can, like visual arts. I'm sure it's beautiful being in Yukon or being around like nature all the time. I'm sure that like influences it, definitely.
It's cold though, so.
Well, it's cold here too.
We had a snowstorm. It was on the CBC, but it was crazy snowstorm. Like
Really?
no one in Yukon has ever seen it like this. No one went to work. Literally, no one went to work. It was, I think it was 37 centimeters of snow in one night.
Whoa.
Literally, I had a shovel on my car, and I was like, like pushing snow off with a full shovel, and then no one could leave, and everyone was getting stuck. It was crazy. The parking lots were like crazy.
Oh my God.
That was like 2 weeks ago.
I'm from Ottawa, so I know what you mean about like snowy winters. Like coming to Toronto, I was like, people are wearing running shoes in winter? What?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's not a case for me growing up. Oh man. Is everyone okay now? Like still going to work?
I think it's okay now. They're still like clearing the roads, but it's okay.
Well, thank you for sitting with me. This has been really nice to catch up and learn so much about the northeastern part of Canada, because I know nothing about it. I wanted to give you a chance though, to plug anything. You know, you've got all these projects, but anything, you know, personally that you want to plug or promote, the mic is yours. Please go for it.
I have Instagram. My name is Baddie Griff, and it's like BADIEGRIFF. I don't know where that came from. One day, I think someone just messaged me like Baddie Griff, and I was like, okay.
You're a baddie.
Yeah, I thought it was funny. But yeah, and if like anyone wants to watch the solo, I will gladly send it to them. Like if you want to send me a DM or whatever, I would love, like I want people to watch it. I just didn't want it to be very public.
You're so humble. Amazing. Well, I'll link your Instagram, but I won't link the solo.
Okay.
You have to message Sadie to find it. It's like a treasure hunt.
No, wait. It's fine. You can link the solo. It's fine. I think it's been enough time. I should probably watch it. I don't know. I'm scared.
No, I know that feeling of like, I literally don't want to watch my own work.
Yeah. You can link the solo if you've listened to the whole hour of this podcast, so now you know. And
yes,
you have to be prepared for me to cry. So that's the only thing.
So beautiful. So beautiful. It's a nice moment. Highly recommend watching Sadie cry.
Like I had like snot too. I was like, like so gross.
Oh, well, thank you very much. I appreciate your time, even though you're so busy.
Thank you too.
All right, I'll pause the recording, but we can keep talking. Thank you so much for listening to the Art Versations podcast. If you like what you heard, the best way to help the podcast is to subscribe or follow on your preferred podcast platform and leave a review. As well, follow the podcast on Instagram at artversationspod. You'll find photos of each of my guests so you can match a voice to a face and highlight clips from each episode. Let's keep the conversation going. Send in a DM with your own thoughts about art, as well as any questions you think I should ask my guests. The podcast community continues to grow, and that is all because of you, listener. All bodies are dancer bodies, and all lives can't matter until Black Lives Matter. Till next time.
My name is Broadway Classic.
Tyrie.